Glitch just dropped the trailer for every single episode coming in the amazing digital circus, from both Pomni and Cain explaining it, and I'm gonna explain it a bit further by showing you what you missed and what's actually coming next for the show. In the beginning of the trailer, we could see Pomni in a room from one of the teasers that we got a few days ago, which was her lying in her bed with her eyes wide open, and it was thought that someone woke her up, but it turns out that she was actually just lying down thinking about how she was stuck in the circus. And that's when we get another shot from one of the teasers where Pomni is still lying awake but from above, and that's when Cain appears out of nowhere and screams and really gets her out of bed. And then right after that, we see our last teaser frame, which was revealed yesterday and basically said that we were gonna get this trailer today. And then Cain pulls out the thumbnail for the pilot episode and basically says they reached their goal of 1 view, which is obviously a lie, but they definitely did reach their goal of however many views they needed to continue the show, and definitely smashed it, since they're about to hit 300 million views now and triple the previous record for most views on an indie animation episode. And Cain then explained that the pilot episode is going to be upgraded to episode 1, which means that the next episode will be called episode 2 instead of episode 1 like many people thought it would be, with the pilot episode staying as some sort of episode 0. And Pomni even said it was weird as a fourth wall break by asking, is that how that normally works? And Cain says, shut up.
Pilot to the amazing digital circus reached our goal of 1 view and will now be upgraded to episode 1 of the amazing digital circus full series.
Is that how that normally works?
Shut up!
But basically saying they're doing it and you don't need to worry about it. But then they go outside and Cain talks even further about the success of the show and says that Pomni has left quite a mark on the show, and then he says something I canonically don't have any knowledge of.
Your little crying face left quite the little crying mark on the internet. Something I don't canonically have any knowledge of.
Basically saying that this video isn't canon to the story, but the information inside of this trailer is real. And he then proceeds to show off some sort of blurred thumbnails, and Pomni was so scared of it that she even cursed, even though we know in the circus cursing literally doesn't do anything, which means she had to have been looking at something really bad, which makes me think that's probably why the thumbnails being shown were blurred, because one, they're obviously copyright, and probably NSFW thumbnails from the animation channels on YouTube that just spam terrible animations from the show with clickbait NSFW thumbnails. And Cain even further proves it by telling Pomni that those are all the consequences of our actions, and it's only gonna get worse from here.
What the f am I looking at?
The consequences of our actions! And it's only going to get worse from here.
Oh no.
But then we see our first real look into the next episode when Cain says that he's gonna show Pomni their next adventure, which will be in the Candy Canyon Kingdom, which pretty much confirms that the adventures won't just take place in the tent, carnival, or lake, but instead can be created by Cain. As well, we see a glimpse into another adventure where we see Kinger with a shotgun beating something, and judging by the lighting, this seems to be some sort of haunted house where the circus members have to survive together to beat the adventure. And then we see what another adventure could look like, which is where we see Jax working at fast food, and we saw him get pushed out of a closet by one of Cain's hands in a fast food uniform working at a place called Speedy's. And what I'm assuming happened is that Jax was initially refusing to take place in the adventure and said that he's not going to wear that uniform in front of everyone else, and so Cain forced him to and pushed him out of the closet, which is why we see Jax's expression like that. Then after that, we see an adventure that's unfinished, and it looks to be some sort of sports stadium with lighting and seats, but if we look at the file name at the top, it says Aces 1.0, which probably doesn't mean anything specific, and at the top it's called Object X, which means they won't tell us exactly what this is used for, but they may be playing some sort of sports game or using the stadium for some sort of show. And then we see the Sun finally talk, and she complains that she doesn't get any dialogue, so Cain says that they'll get some lines for her, which is probably referencing the fact that everyone complained that in the pilot episode the moon talked but the sun didn't say anything, and everyone said that the sun was never gonna talk, and so they probably wrote in some lines just for fun.
Hi, Cain! I'm gonna kill you!
What? Why?
I read all the scripts and saw I don't get a single line of dialogue, while the moon gets 2!
I mean, I guess we could give you some more lines.
As well, the sun says, I'm gonna kill you, Cain, which is probably the opposite of the moon, because the moon says, I love you, Cain, and they probably don't really mean it, they just say it a lot.
Hello, Cain. I love you.
And then Kane says, speaking of dialogue, there will be many new lines of dialogue from many of our new colorful characters. And then super quickly he shows us flashes of 8 new characters all saying one syllable, each of them screaming.
Of dialogue, there will be all sorts of new dialogue from many of our new colorful characters.
The first one we see is some sort of yellow dinosaur who will appear in the next episode, probably as a tour guide to the Candy Canyon Kingdom, because we can see in the background the ground is pink and covered in candy, as well as the canyon in the background, and he seems to have a more raspy, deep voice, which means he probably has a careless attitude just like Jax. Then our second character is actually one we saw appear in the teaser for episode 2, which means we'll probably be seeing the fast food adventure next as well, with this guy who might be a customer NPC that our circus members will have to deal with, because it doesn't seem like he's behind the counter working there, as you can see a table and chair in the bottom right corner. But the next character we see is honestly a bit disturbing, as it might not even be a character and instead something a lot more dark and disturbing, because we see a tape machine that looks like it has eyes and a mouth in a dark room, which could be hinting that we're not supposed to hear what he has to say, but we will anyway to make the story more interesting. Then we see yet another character from the Candy Canyon Kingdom who is definitely an NPC for that adventure, just like the Gloink Queen was for the Gloink adventure, and it seems like this might be some sort of monster who's defending the kingdom from the circus members entering, but he also seems like he's kind of stupid just by the way he sounds and looks. Then we see a sort of ghost type person who seems to be from the haunted house adventure that I was talking about, with Kinger having a shotgun. And what's interesting is that you could see it has the same kind of glow that the other character we had from the teaser, except you can see that they have very different body types, so it doesn't make sense that this is that character. Then we see another character from the Candy Canyon Kingdom who is the princess character we got from the teaser, and she's definitely going to be another NPC for the adventure, where she is basically the princess or queen of the kingdom and will guide or try to kill our circus members depending on how the adventure goes. And then next we see the actual ghost character from our teaser, because we can see that she has the same type of glowing body and probably the same body type to the one in the teaser, because if we look at her torso you can see she's wearing old clothing, and that's why in the teaser we could see her wearing some sort of really long old skirt. And the last character we see is a blue mannequin, which is weird, because now does this confirm that every other mannequin is just an NPC, but if you're a different color you're an actual real person? Or maybe someone joined the circus but never formed their own avatar fully, almost as if it was some sort of glitch, which further proves the mannequins are placeholders theory. And then Kane starts screaming about how the characters will be in shipping wars, and out of rage he turns into a plush version of himself, but that's not the real plush. That's the knockoff version that's been sold online by companies trying to profit off of the show without giving any sort of deal with the creators. And then everything after this is basically just them saying to buy merch so that they can do more with the show, which is true. So if you can buy something even to just support their show, then you should. But here's the best part about it. We now know when episode 2 is coming out. Now you're not gonna like it, but at the end of the trailer they said episodes will come out when they're ready. But if we look at the tweet they made where they mentioned the trailer again, they said that they hope to get episode 2 around May, and then go through the year all the way to next year, which means starting May we'll be able to get an episode every 2 months. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video here.